Hi everyone, my name is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki with Ray, and today I am in Stephen Curran's home tiki bar called the Rocking Jellyfish. And the reason why I'm over here is because it's in Gig Harbor, which is where Stephen lives, but also my good buddy Sean here lives in Gig Harbor, and I'm like, let's do some filming about your recent trip to Nashville, and Stephen's like, why don't you just come over to my bar and we'll film there. I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. So here we are in the Rockin' Jellyfish Lounge. And Sean, you just came back from a trip to where?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep, going for my sister-in-law's 40th birthday party. I convinced them that we needed to visit a tiki bar in Nashville.
Yeah.
And after a lot of research, we chose Chopper's Tiki Bar.
No, there's a tiki bar in Nashville.
Yeah, there is. Well, possibly more than one, but I visited Chopper's.
Now, before we go any further, what kind of bars are mostly in Nashville? Like
what I ran into, if you go to the downtown Main Street area or offsite, everything is a country bar. Every bar is
a country bar.
There few very rare exceptions.
Okay.
Some restaurants that aren't entirely country, but if they have live music, it's country music. If they're serving alcohol, it's Miller Lite and basic something and Coke, or bourbon and ginger, or something along those lines.
Is there any craft cocktail places there at all in Nashville?
There are some craft distilleries out there.
Interesting.
Definitely doing some interesting work with bourbons and Tennessee whiskeys and ryes. I didn't see a whole lot of craft cocktail bars, especially in that downtown core area. Now, admittedly, we were going for my sister-in-law's party, and she was picking the locations, and she loves country.
Yeah.
But I was able to convince the group that we needed to check out a craft bar, a craft tiki bar.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this, you're going to tell me more about it because you were there, because Chopper has been on my radar for some time now.
Okay.
And from what I understand is it's a tiki bar, but it's a robot-themed tiki bar. Is that right?
Right. It's it looks like their theme is if robots had been in the Polynesian Islands.
Okay.
And then that's how they themed all of their tikis around, is the 1940s, 1950s era robot toys.
Yeah, like the wind-up toys. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I got to say right off the bat, I love toy robots. I don't have many because they're not cheap, and I do have a couple, but I've always had a fascination for this type of robot that what they're going for, and I know exactly what it is. It's kind of like mid-century, these like metal tin robots. But how did they come up with combining tiki with like robot toys?
The story I've heard, at least in part, and this is not necessarily coming from them or their official story, is they were trying to find a theme that differentiated themselves from a lot of the other tiki bars that have been built throughout the area. I mean, there's always, you're going to find people who follow the themes of Trader Vic's or Don the Beachcomber, of very Polynesian style tropical tikis. Mm-hmm. A lot of flowers, a lot of bird calls, and I think they wanted to avoid some of that, just to try to differentiate themselves from the mix. Like, you don't go to Chopper's and think you're going to walk into the Golden Tiki.
No. Well, what does this place look like? It is it Polynesian or tropical at all? Or?
If the islands had been...
If the islands of Polynesia.
Yes, if the islands of Polynesia had been overly saturated with neon.
Okay. Neon
lighting, electricity. It had just become the thing that was the end all and be all.
Okay.
And I think that's what they're going for, is a robot landed on a Polynesian island, and the natives there decided to treat it like something amazing and dedicate their whole culture around it.
And that is the story that they came up with.
Roughly, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm paraphrasing a little bit, at least.
And you know what? But you know what? That's how any good tiki bar has a story to it.
Yeah, and you definitely walk in, and you know you're walking into something unique.
I've seen, well, right off the bat, I understand there's like a giant robot that hangs upside down from the roof above the bar.
Suspended above the bar, facing down. So
You're right?
like
Am I
it
right?
was laying down, but lying face down
Yeah.
over the bar. Yeah, and it looks over the bar and over the bartenders, and they've got robot tiki heads on all the walls, surrounded by neon lighting, and they have the dark lighting. And you definitely do feel like you're walking into this place where the idea of tiki gods got kind of set up on its head.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Sean. You're really starting to intrigue me with this whole idea, because it's like when you go with the story with what they're trying to go for. Okay, so yeah, it's sort of like, imagine if robots had a tiki bar.
Right.
This is what it would be. So that being said, as far as the music concerned, did they just play Kraftwerk all the time?
Well, it wasn't Nashville country. They're in East Nashville, so they're quite a ways off the main drinking drags.
East Nashville? Where's East Nashville at?
It is
east of Nashville,
yeah,
obviously.
east of downtown Nashville. Right?
Okay.
Across the river, you get through some neighborhood streets before you get back out onto the main drags out there when you're crossing the bridges. And it's definitely kind of a separate feel from that party atmosphere of the downtown core.
So what are the drinks like then? I mean, are they classic cocktails? Or is it riffs on classics? Or do they have their own drinks? Or
The names are definitely robot-themed riffs.
Okay.
I think that they have a mix of what they're calling the modern classics.
Modern classic, okay.
And they do reinvent some of the drinks a little bit.
Okay.
I started out with their Robot Zombie.
Robot Zombie.
Yep. And
Okay.
comes in this pink robot tiki mug.
Okay.
That kind of looks like the squeezy alien when you have stress. The one that pops out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that when you're drinking from it, but lit on fire. Looks really cool and a very, very tasty drink.
That was good?
Yeah, really good zombie. They have Singapore slings, variations, some less fruit forward of the tiki drinks, and some Mexican drinks or Hispanic drinks separate from the tiki
Really?
style.
Okay.
Yeah. Daiquiris, and hit more of the less of the Polynesian culture side in some of them.
This is one of the mugs from Chopper.
You're right. This is their robot Mai Tai tiki mug. This is what the Mai Tai is serving.
Can I see this?
Yeah.
What's this one called?
It's their Mai Tai tiki mug. It's what the Mai Tai is served in.
So did you get a Mai Tai?
I did.
Well, and is it a 44 recipe?
It is not a 44 recipe. Their Mai Tai is using a bitter mix of some sort, and definitely they are playing with some of the variations that people have done of the Mai Tai expanded and the recipes changed and changed and changed again. And before we found this is what we think Trader Vic did in 1944, and this is what someone else did years later.
Okay.
Not my favorite, but
okay.
Mainly because I think I was expecting a fruity, fruit forward, lime forward drink, and it was definitely a bitter forward drink.
Bitter forward drink, okay. But a good, well-made cocktail, though.
Yes, all of their cocktails were very well crafted. Their bartenders definitely knew what they were doing.
Would you recommend people to go check it out?
Oh, absolutely. They are doing something kind of unique, kind of new. They're trying something that fits within the tiki culture and tiki world.
Yeah.
But also expands a little bit. And I think that anything that expands what tiki is, even a small amount, can make for a lot more fun and a lot more interest for other people to come in.
I agree with you, and as I've gone into tiki and been into this, I've been to a lot of tiki bars, and I've been to a lot of home tiki bars, and I'm definitely open and interested in ways that people like what's your interpretation of tiki? How do you do it? And it's like this idea of like, hey, let's have a robot tiki bar. Okay, well, if there was a robot tiki bar, what would that look like? What would that be? And it's an idea that I would have never thought of, but I'm glad that they made it, and I saw it, and I definitely want to go check it out. And another thing that I'm sure, well, when we're talking about those toys, these are toys from the mid-century. Well, probably more like 30s, 40s, 50s. But like that ties into the atomic age thing.
Yeah. The toys that growing up with Don Beach or Trader Vic, those are what you would have played with.
Yeah.
And then you came out and got the chance to play with alcohol.
Again, my tie, a lot of my ties and a lot of my interest, and for a lot of other people when it comes to Tiki, is its ties to the mid-century.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like this Chopper Tiki bar has combined its three elements. You have Tiki, mid-century, and atomic age.
A lot, yes.
So, hats off to them.
Yes. I strongly recommend, if you're in Nashville, visit Choppers.
Yeah, go to the Grand Ole Opry.
Go to the Grand Ole Opry.
Where else should they go if you're going to go to Nashville? I mean, there's the Grand Ole Opry. Is it Broadway's the main drag?
Broadway's the main drag.
Okay.
And it is as busy as any place you've ever seen when it comes to crowds of people going from bar to bar.
Yeah.
There is, and I'm losing the name of it, an alley of bars that is really cool to go visit and a little bit quieter.
Yep.
But East Tennessee has some slightly more spread out, so you don't get the big crowds in there constantly. Some very, very cool and interesting bars going on.
Yeah, so go to the Grand Ole Opry. Go see some country and western bands.
East Nashville. Sorry, I said
drink
East
your what were you saying, Miller Lite and what whiskey was it?
It was a bourbon and ginger were the two drinks that I saw.
Have a bourbon and ginger as a pre-funk, and then make your way over to Chopper Tiki Bar and have some real drinks.
Just don't take a electric scooter from downtown to Chopper's Tiki. It's a bit of a drive, and you want to get into a car.
There you go. Is that what you did?
We took a car. My sister-in-law and other family tried to take a scooter, and going over one of the bridges over the river, dumped the scooter, and
great.
Then found a car, Uber, from that point because it was less.
It's funny. It's a very specific tip to when you go to
Yes.
you go to Nashville.
Don't go downtown to East Nashville on an electric scooter, and there's a lot of them on the street.
So, yeah, because you're probably too drunk to handle a scooter.
A little bit.
Let someone else do the driving for you.